This video is going to be all about the pros and cons of living in Corvallis, Oregon. So if you've been looking for some information on Corvallis and trying to decide if it might be the right city for you in the future, stay tuned. Hey, my name is Tyler Thomas. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. I've lived here for most of my life and it's a wonderful area. I grew up in Philomath, just outside of Corvallis to the west. We have a really great community and I love our area because there's just so much to do. Like I said, this video is all about the pros and cons in Corvallis, so let's go ahead and get into it. My first pro for living in Corvallis is really important to me, and I know a lot of people it's also important to, which is there's a ton of trails and outdoor options. There's a very large amount of parks in the area that have trail systems for biking, hiking, and running. You'd be hard-pressed to find another city in the area that has as many trail systems within a 5-10 minute drive as Corvallis. And that's not even going out of your way. That is right near town. PV Arboretum, Bald Hill, The Saddle, McDonald Forest, and Chip Ross are a couple of these really great trail systems. Now most of these, if you're looking to actually get out kind of more into the sticks and actually do some real hiking, are going to be more in that north and northwest area of town. There are a lot of different options also as far as maybe some really good paved walkways. Throughout all these, there's going to be something for everyone in all difficulty levels. And if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can go a little bit past Philomath, going over to Mary's Peak, as you have different entrances to hiking trails all within that. You can also head out into Kings Valley and go to Bazell Memorial Forest, which has always been one of my favorite places. My first con, which depending on the person and who you ask, some people like it, some people don't, is going to be the rain. We of course have a lot of it, and a running joke that a lot of people have is if you're walking down the street, you see a person with an umbrella, people are going to say basically, they're probably not from around here. During the winter months, when it starts to get dark around that 4:35 time, the days can definitely feel a little bit short. During the typical months between November and March, which is typically our wettest months, sometimes it's just not that bad. It kind of depends on the year. Some years it just feels like the rain is never going to end, and it can definitely get a bit old. But it's kind of expected because we definitely always get the reputation of being wet. But with all the rain we get, it definitely helps with our scenery, as Oregon truly is one of the most beautiful places. Now in Oregon we have what is called temperate rainforest-like conditions, and for the most part, the Cascades are going to keep most moisture to the west. We really don't get much snow here, and when we do, everything shuts down. We might get like an inch, some years we might get 2. Now when we do get a bunch of snow, pretty much everything will shut down because we have no idea how to deal with that. We are not equipped. There just simply isn't enough equipment in most areas to keep up with the snow, so you'll have some parts of town, it'll be compacted for like a week. Other parts will be main roads and stuff will typically get taken care of. We'll have usually just little rocks they'll put down. We can't use salt in most places, so you're going to end up after a huge snowstorm seeing just rocks scattered everywhere. Our summers are usually pretty comfortable. You're looking at 70s, 80s most of the time. When you get up to 90s and 100, we're just not built for that typically. We don't see it enough, so when you get a 100-degree day, there's a lot of people that just want to stay inside, try to find some AC or go do something because, like I said, we are typically a lot cooler than that. My next pro is going to kind of go along with my first one, where Corvallis has a very outdoorsy lifestyle, and there's a lot of availability to do just about anything outdoors that you want in our area. Corvallis has many bike paths and other areas on the road where you can commute, so that's become fairly easy to do. We also have good shopping options for people with the more outdoorsy lifestyle. Healthy eating, so people can also go and take out their families and have a lot of options in that way. Corvallis is a very health conscious city, and especially with a lot of people biking around, the city makes that possible. And like I stated before, there's a ton of hiking trails as well. The downtown riverfront area is extremely family friendly. You have a little area covered by trees where a lot of people sit, read books, hang out. A little bit to the north of that, just walking on that path, you're also going to find a splash pad, a little kid climbing area, so it's very family friendly. That area is also very heavy on different sculptures. Going from the bridges out of town, just going south, you're going to see all kinds of sculptures. It's connected to a bike path that'll take you out towards Avery and Southtown. If you keep following that more west, you'll also get out to Starker Arts and Sunset Park. As far as downtown Corvallis goes, we have a lot of options for little restaurants and shops in that whole area. There's something for everybody, as many different ethnic options and health options. You've also got things like the First Alternative Co-op in Southtown, there's one in the northern part of town, as well as the natural grocers. So Corvallis is very health conscious. You're not just pigeonholed into a specific variety of food. There's something for everybody. My next con is going to be the housing and affordability in the area. So as far as housing goes, most people know Corvallis is going to be just more on the expensive side. It being a college town, most of what's getting built is going to be just apartments and some more higher end homes, more on that northern part of town. There are a few newer options for townhomes and things, but not everyone wants to go in that direction. So it kind of feels like more of the town is more geared towards definitely the college with all the apartments and things, and not just your smaller families. Corvallis definitely tries to keep that more small town feel and that tight knit community neighborhood feel, which I've always thought is really awesome. Not having as many homes available definitely keeps that price up, as there's just not the inventory. There's a lot of people that are split on whether or not Corvallis needs to continue growing and expand out more, or if it needs to kind of more stay the same size and kind of keep that more close knit, smaller community feel. Rents are pretty expensive for Corvallis, it being a college town and all. It can sometimes take people quite a while to be able to find a rental or an apartment that you can afford. Now, just my 2 cents with me growing up in the area, with OSU becoming the size that it is and still expanding, we do need places for people to go. Bigger apartment complexes now stretched over to Philomath, which I didn't necessarily think I'd see. I would personally like to see a little more building going on, geared towards first-time home buyers, smaller families, and not just bigger apartment complexes. The next pro for Corvallis is just its proximity to everything. One of the great things is heading out west along Highway 20, you can get to Newport. It'll usually take you about an hour, which in the grand scheme of things isn't all that bad. You can also reach Portland, the state's biggest city, within an hour and a half. So you're going to have access to some of those bigger city activities within that hour and a half, 2 hour range, which is great. Also around an hour and a half, you got the mountains to the east. So you're going to have other options for all the fishing, kayaking. You're going to have the mountains, so you can get up in the mountains and do some hiking. You've got a lot more activities out there too. My next con for Corvallis is just the lack of nightlife. There really isn't all that much to do when it gets dark out. Now, that's summer dark, not winter dark, since, 4:30 gets dark. If you're not a college kid, you can head downtown to try to find something open, but for the most part, when it gets a little bit later, say 9, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be closed. But in the past little bit, there's been a few more options that are actually going to be open downtown that might be open till 10. One of my favorites is Sky High, which is a great place for just getting up on the roof and playing some cornhole. Other than that, you're probably going to go into a bar like the Peacock. Other than that, you might have something like Cosmic Bowling at the bowling alley or going to a late night movie, but I feel like that kind of sums it up. And when talking to some other people about this topic as well, a lot of people agree. So like we just talked about, one of the good things is our proximity. So even though it might not be in town where there's things to do, you're going to have places nearby. So you're going to have Salem, which might be the closest area for activities like that, but then also you're going to have Eugene, about an hour away, and like we just talked about, Portland as well. Now for some, this con really only affects people that want to be out past, say, 9 or 10, and for some, this doesn't really match their needs anyway. The next pro is the Corvallis schools. Now, of course, we've got Oregon State University, which is in the Pac, well, now, 2. We'll see what ends up happening with this. But we're definitely still going to call Corvallis the best college town in the Pac-12. Oregon State is huge in the engineering and tech, and that kind of goes along with a lot of Corvallis' workforce being in tech. One of the city's biggest employers, other than Oregon State, is HP. HP has a pretty good percentage of the town workforce working for them, and with being close to Oregon State, they're definitely going to be able to get some of those students to come work for them. Corvallis has some very good schools in town, and it's also rated very highly in the state. There's going to be a link down below in the description for niche.com where you can check these schools out. The 2 high schools in town are going to be Corvallis High School, kind of middle of town, and also to the north of town is going to be Crescent Valley High School. The next con for Corvallis is going to be the traffic. Now, for the most part, this is going to be only during certain times of the year. Corvallis during the summer is completely different than Corvallis during when the college is in. At times, getting downtown to cross over the Van Buren Bridge can be as painful as stubbing your pinky toe. But most of the time, it's not that bad. Really just going to need to plan ahead and kind of know what areas of town might be high traffic areas during certain times of the day. If you're heading downtown around 4 or 5, you can expect some traffic. The rest of the day, it's really not that bad. You just got to plan ahead, as there's certain parts of town that during the day, they're going to be fine, but during other parts of the day, they're just plain awful. Something the city's done a lot better at, and I know everyone's very appreciative, is the game day traffic for especially football games, because not long ago, it was terrible trying to leave a game. And for the people that didn't know there's a football game or something going on, you will find out because you're going to run into a lot of traffic once you get next to Avery 34. If you're trying to get from Philomath, the western part of Corvallis, and you're trying to get to the right side, it's helpless. You'll need to go to the north side of town. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't the best con, but it comes up enough to where, I got to put it out there. Now, I've got an extra little pro for Corvallis, and that's just, Corvallis is just beautiful. Everywhere you look, there's something great to look at. To the east, it's really flat, and if you're going up on Bald Hill, you can look out there and see the Cascades. If you look west, you're going to have the view of Mary's Peak. Mary's Peak is that highest point in the coastal mountain range, so you will definitely see it. The Willamette River also runs through town, so a lot of people like to walk down the downtown waterfront. You'll often see the OSU rowing team out there practicing along the Willamette. Now, a lot of people will do things like fishing, rafting, also inner tubing. With inner tubing, you want to be kind of careful because there are parts of the Willamette that can be quite dangerous. There are a ton of parks in Corvallis, and they're actually really well maintained, I feel like. Avery is really popular. We have the rhododendron area, also the rose garden area. My daughter and me actually went the other day because she loves the rose garden area, and we did a little walkthrough video, so you can expect that in the future. We also have two really good wetland areas, Jackson Fraser and Sunset Park. They have a raised wooden walkway, so in the winter when it starts to flood and water comes up, you can go out there and take a walk. We also have really good green open space parks, so if you're looking to do some frisbee or just kind of hang out, we have those as well, and they're really nice. So that's it. Those are a few of my pros and cons for living in Corvallis. So if you have any further questions about any of the topics I brought up, or if you have other questions about Corvallis, go ahead and reach out to me. My information is in the description below, so you can go ahead and text, email, call me, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Again, my name is Tower Thomas. I'm a realtor here with eXp Realty, and I'll be glad to be your local resource for all your real estate needs.